All right, welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show. And kid's back in his little playpen. He came out. We let him run around the house. Made a mess of everything. And I asked AJ he was on my show this morning on 97.1, and I go, AJ, since you fill in for Pat when he's out, so you know what that's like going from riding shotgun to then driving the bus and everything. And you pretend like, oh, Bob, why are you yelling at me? What's going on? Why do we care about time? Why do we care about the breaks? Those things are all kind of matter. And there's some liberty. There's some liberty. Yeah, they do. And AJ was like, how would you say Schlegs did? He's like, he had a lot of energy, a lot of he seemed kind of flustered at times, but was very excited, was very passionate. I was happy to join in there. I'm sorry, I wanted to try to join you off the jump, and I lost track of time. I was at the Garage Beer Tent at their hole. They had an awesome hole. Schlegs, you would have loved this. Pat actually threw it in the chat. It's not in the it's not on the sheet, but my Garage Beer deal, it was awesome. They had a hole like in Nicole, the clubs. Yesterday I was at the coaches money for the Excellence Fund over at Ohio State. Roosters puts it on. The lovely Nicole does a phenomenal job with it. They got all the roosters you want, Schlegs. I've got talked to our guy Eric, who does a great job over there with them. I was like, hey, if there's any extra chicken that can just fall off the back of the truck, let it fall into mine. I go, my wife's going to be out of town this weekend with Cullen. I need some food to just sling at him. So we got that. Yeah, there's the Garage Beer. How sweet is that lawn chair down in the corner, by the way?
I like it.
Old school, dude. It's the old school.
I have one. I have
that too. That lawn chair got in my cart with me and it rode with me like the next 5 holes till we were done. But I was doing that when you called.
Take it home?
Yeah, it's at my house. I'm going to take it and watch my daughter play lacrosse with it tomorrow. Maybe even have some Garage Beer with it. But they had at their tent, if you can see in the bags, a bunch of dudes back there, and they had this like golf ball cannon, and they had like little dart tails on them, and you would shoot it at the green, and then you were shooting for one. And I felt pretty good. I put mine about 14, 15 feet from the hole, and we ended up birdieing it. Or hitting it in like on our first shot. So I guess we got a 1 on that, but it was awesome. Like I was the only one that got on the green with it, but Nicole does a great job of like getting some cool nuanced things there, stuff that they don't have. There's an awesome company. Gosh, I don't have their card with me. They're based out of Dublin. It does like golf accessories and apparel. And their Columbus company, they want to do a collab with Garage Beer. And they did one with OAR. So I've got a sweet OAR driver cover now. Head cover. Yeah. So it's awesome. It was a great time raising money for the Excellence Fund. Roosters, Nicole did an awesome job. Brian was awesome, bouncing around, playing golf, getting in some of the holes with people. Some different coaches were paired up, playing with folks as well. It was a lot of fun. And it was a great cause, like money to get back to the program. And it was wild, Schleis, because the weather yesterday was just like sunny, then cold, then super windy, then the sun would stop, it'd get hot, and then it started raining, put a raincoat on, then it would stop raining, wind would stop, sweating in the raincoat, take it off, and just wild. But it was cool. It's a great course out there, Scarlett. I encourage anyone, if you're in the Central Ohio area, it's hard. And that's what someone who'd never played it before. One of our guys with our group in Affinity was from Indy. It's like, dude, this is crazy hard, these greens. I'm like, yeah, that's why they host a Corn Ferry event there. It's 7,200 yards long. If you're hitting from the tips, like there's times I hit from the tips, I don't know if I could drive it past the ladies' tee from the tips. Like sometimes it's like 230 yards behind them. It's so crazy long from the back. But it was a really good time. And so I'm glad that you were able to do that. Get that stuff taken care of. It was a nice day for the coaches because they were off. They finished camp the day before. They've got some OVs today. So I got to go over there. So I've got the Ohio State polo on, looking good. Go talk to some folks about the business school. They've actually have the dean of the business school in. So Mark's like, you can come if you want. And he's like, it'd probably be good, to give them a little bit of ping pong back and forth of, you went to school here and you now teach there. It's like kind of understanding it all. Gives a little bit of a different element, but they've got one last weekend of official visits. So that's really exciting and a lot of fun for them to finish up. And then they're done for the most part until they start back up then again for the couple weeks, like a week
The
before.
last 3 weeks, yeah.
10 days, yeah. So players have a little bit more with the strength coaches' legs, as you well know,
Oh, yeah.
getting that done as well. Have we had a chance to watch
Nope.
the Surviving High State?
I'm flying home today.
You can watch it?
I'm flying back to Florida for the move, and yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it on the plane.
Oh,
Yeah.
it'll be great. You'll like it. I was actually talking to some of the people, Schlegs, and that were there in the 90s, like kind of when he was kind of phased out, and like how John Lombardo, who was our team doc, Doc Lombardo, who when he got there was the one that kind of like ushered him out. And he's in the documentary. They have him talking. They did an internal investigation in him. But then there's a gentleman that we know both over there, Schlegs, who was there back in like the 70s when he first got there, and he was a student. So just hearing all of the stuff and different things that went on and talking to guys. And I told I was talking to Lorenzo Styles. I was like, dude, you need to watch this. You need to talk to your dad about it because your dad was there. Now, it wasn't really with football. And the same thing I told like Rosinski. I was like, your dad was there kind of at the tail end of this. Like, you guys need to watch it. And I go, I want to talk to them to kind of see their thoughts about what, the wrestlers that they talk to. And just, I don't ever like to form an opinion on something based upon one piece of information, Schlegs.
Yeah.
I like to go out and like information gather, talk to people with different perspectives as far as what they think happened, what they saw happen, all of that different stuff. But yeah, that was out there, and I didn't think I was going to watch it. And then, you know what? One of my friends encouraged me to. I was like, okay, and got in there and really took a good hard look at it. I mean, you were a wrestler, Schleg, so I mean that could have been you at some point in time, but I think there's just a lot of stuff back then that there wasn't as much oversight, and there wasn't a place to really blow a whistle and like stop it. There was no like hierarchy for some of these different guys. And I think there was no sports medicine department. Like the doctors were independent from the athletic department. It's kind of a crazy time. And like looking back on it, how things are different now, and like what protocols and procedures are in place to prevent some of that stuff from happening.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to watch it. I pushed it to today on the flight because I knew I had a lot of time.
I thought you do your best work on the flights.
Yeah, I do. It sucks to where this did transpire at a place that we all love, and there's reasons why things have gotten better. And to your point, Bob, like you got to go talk to the people that lived it. And I don't form any opinions. I know that it came out and there was a lawsuit. It was validated that these things transpired. So, good. There's restitution that need to be made for the crimes that happened. I think that already transpired. So I'm just excited to see kind of like the back end of it, because stories like that are in the news, like I don't follow. I just know that they're happening, and I hope they get resolved in the right way. It's unfortunate that people had to go through those experiences, especially at a place that they cared about. And that's, and it goes back. We all have a responsibility, and to me, how did that even transpire?
Yeah.
Does somebody not know and like want to step up, right? Like you can even talk about the Penn State stuff, and it's like, I want to know those things. Could it have been prevented? Could somebody have just like smashed that dude in the face at some point?
Well, he's not a very big guy, and like at the end, he was particularly old as well. So obviously there was, that element to it. But here's the thing. Here's the way that I look at it: is I love our country. Doesn't mean it's perfect. Doesn't mean there haven't been things that have happened that shouldn't have, or there's stuff that was handled inappropriately or unjustly. But it's still that I try not to let some of the bad override like so much of the good, if you know what I'm saying, like trying to lean in and understand that. So that's how I've always looked at it and said, hey, I love Ohio State. Does that mean Ohio State's perfect? No. I mean, there was a lot of times, Schlegs, like we talked when I was in school, that heck, I thought about transferring. I wanted to leave. And I talked about it a lot earlier or last week when you were gone, where I was miserable and happy. Like I didn't think we were doing this well, or this wasn't handled right, or whatever it was. All that different stuff, like that's all part of the story.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that I still don't think that it's a really great place on the aggregate. It's just some things always need to get better.
Yeah, it's just, like I said, people are messy. This is a terrible situation. It's not indicative of all the positives, but it is. But again, you can't sweep it under the rug and think that it didn't happen. It's an area that we got to grow from and get better. I think Ohio State has. I mean, I just remember the care that we received while we were there, Bob, from our team doctors and the athletic training staff. Like, we had some of the best. I mean, I love. We talk to those guys all the time in a variety of different capacities. They're the guys that you can call up on a whim that got you or can point you in the right direction. Hell, I remember I had somebody here that was trying to get in touch with Kading, and they couldn't get in touch with them. And I'm like, hang on. And I texted Dr. Kading. I'm like, hey, I got this athlete that wants you to do her surgery. He's like, call this number. And I called that number and I connected the two, and poof, David Copperfield, done. That's just how it works. So unfortunate that it happened. It's terrible tragedy that it happened in this manner. But there's my take from it of where we are now moving forward. It is fantastic.
It is. Some other stuff, some other news, and someone brought this up in the chat, and I was glad they did. Probably a lot of the LJ slander is pretty stupid since yesterday. So are you familiar with, I know you don't probably track much recruiting or anything, do you, Schlegs? No?
Absolutely I do. I'm all over it. But what is the slander for Coach Johnson?
So defensive end, really talented kid, Luke Wafel, who I guess they anticipated committing to Ohio State.
Is this the kid from Duncanville?
No, that's the kid who just committed to Ohio, or is committing or visiting Ohio State now. Luke Wafel committed to USC, so the kid from Duncanville is now probably going to come to Ohio State, is what people are saying. So yeah, there's Luke Wafel, like really talented kid. And so everybody's like bashing on Larry Johnson about this as if, he's the problem on this. And Larry's done a great job recruiting, over the course of his career here. But it says in here, I'm reading this story on 11 Warriors about, Wilt Fong saying the Trojans offered Wafel a lucrative deal to pay him between 2.2 and 2.6 million over 2 years. And the reality is with this, there's going to be some hard conversations that have to happen next year because everybody has $20 million to spend. So you do have a true cap and then additional NIL opportunities that'll happen, but those have to be legit. You just can't write guys checks anymore, at least right now. But next year, Schlegs, so what people have done, as to my understanding, is like Texas Tech and USC, they've front loaded a ton of that money before the settlement kicks in. So they're still getting dollars and being able to pay them just from boosters. And then once this kicks in July 1, then you got your $20 million cap, essentially. So they've paid out, they're going to pay out more than that before, and then you've got $20 million to spend over the next year. But the problem is, though, Schlegs, next year, that cap is going to be in effect for 2 years. So there's no way to be able to hide and slide money in that second year. So you're going to have some hard conversations with people who are used to getting X number of dollars, like
to get less.
Like if he was going to average, 2.2, let's just say over 2 years, basically getting $1 million a year. So him getting $1 million in a situation like this, where even if they're spending all the $20 million on football, which they're not, but let's say if $15 million, that's 1/15 of the pie. It doesn't sound like much, but you're talking about a freshman or sophomore defensive end who would be getting like 6 or 7% of that. And I don't know how you square that. I guess it would be, what would that be? 1/15. Geez, I have to look at that. It's like 15%. So I mean, that's tough to kind of figure out and square of how that's going to work. And so I don't know how, or maybe 12.5%, whatever it is. It's a lot. Or no, 7.5%. Sorry. But that's a lot of your cap. That would be for a guy who is just one position, And so I'm curious to see how this is going to work moving forward.
So here's, as I text, who was I texting? Joe. Joe was like, look at those traps. Glad my wife's not doesn't watch this. I said, hey man, come to the Armory. You can have them too. The tan is from Florida though. So I can't replicate that. But
it's like you're leaving. It's supposed to be like 90s all weekend, like mid 90s.
Okay. The reason I'm going back is I want to take my wife to the beach, and do some stuff. And last week there, I want to go to my church down there. I really like. Go back to this point. So to me, though, guys, why would you bash Larry Johnson? Same thing from bashing when that kid went to Tennessee and they gave him a bunch of money. That's just not how Ohio State does their business. I remember yesterday I showed him the clip, Bob, of Tim Walton, what he was talking about to all the recruits.
Yeah.
And, vision over sight. Talk to our guys. And if you make it always about the money, then it's always going to be about the money. But if you make it about the culture and the development, then most of the time it's going to be about the culture and the development. And that's why guys are going to stay, and they all understand the why, and that the money will come when proven and when necessary. And that's what they did a great job of, making all of those guys whole their senior year, to bring them back and investing in the guys that they developed. So why would you dismiss somebody like that? You have a guy that's in Duncanville, and hell, I mean, Bob, I would love, hopefully he's up here on a weekend that I can go up here, because I was right down the road. But by the way, I beat Duncanville.
I think he's here right now.
Oh, geez, I don't have time. Oh, I would love to come over there and see.
What are you talking about? You'll be done here in about 40 minutes. Like,
yeah,
I'm going to be over there. Slide on over with me.
He's going to pop over like this, man. What's crapping in, bro?
Yeah.
DeSoto, you remember Redbird? Just ask him about Redbird Mall. I wonder if that's even still there. Anyway,
Redbird Mall,
man. It was the King Dingling back in the day, South Dallas. But why would you get upset about it? I mean, but let's not kid ourselves, guys. The people that are evaluating the talent from the on-3s and the 11s and the rivals, and they freaking know. Like we're saying, oh, this is the number one. Like, how do you freaking know? We talked about even in the quarterback draft. Remember Quinn Ewers, can't miss, bona fide first-round draft pick, win the 6th or 7th round. Like, what are we talking about when it's to give hate to somebody that, just won a national championship, and not only that though, but got some really good pass rushers out of the portal, has developed guys. The depth on the defensive line is there. We got some guys that got to step up, yes, on the interior, but there's a lot of dudes there, man. I think Larry's done a phenomenal job. I think our coaches do a great job in recruiting. So to give hate that guy said he's going to go to USC now because of the deal that they're going to give him, good. Take that deal. See if they can develop him. Guess what? We got somebody that we think, and that's where it goes back, on your board. Who do you want? Man, I want one of these three. Well, if you get one of the three, it's a win. That's how I kind of look at it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a win if it fits in alignment with your culture.
It's you're a guy that likes ice cream, but if you have to rank strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate, you'd rather have one over maybe the other two, then you have a second choice, and then maybe a third. So it's not that you're not happy you got the ice cream. It's just if you have your preference, and it doesn't even end up meaning that you're.
Where was that waffle kid from?
Wafel. Yeah,
Wafel waffle. I like waffles. So
let me see. Wafel. Getting plenty of steam. Trojans. I don't know if it says where he is from in here. No, it doesn't say in the article where he's from. So I apologize, Schlegs. I knew some details, not all details, regarding that situation. So Buckeyes. So we're going to take a quick break here, Schlegs, and when we come back.
Oh, hey, Lunatic said he's from New Jersey.
Jersey boy.
Now you got to go all the way. Now you got to go all the way across country.
His dad looks like a Jersey guy. He does awesome. A little bit too.
I love Jersey guys, man.
Yeah, well, we love Jersey girls too. Katy Perry talked about California girls, but that was with a U, so I don't know if that counts. Attention parents and athletes, protect what matters most with Export mouth guards trusted by professional athletes, designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouth guards are scientifically tested to help absorb those high impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. Export mouth guards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including a patented use of carbon fiber. They 3D print that bad boy custom to fit your grill for more protection, better performance, max comfort, and clear communication, so you can focus on your game, not on your gear. Don't take chances with your safety. Visit exportguards.com/Bobby today and save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. Coming up, quarterback down in the SEC, getting a little out of pocket.
Getting a little frothy, man.
Getting a little frothy. Get a little froggy. If you're feeling froggy, jump. Find out next.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lakespur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lakespur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show. And so you always love it when people start getting real chesty because you're a real chesty guy, more trappy than chesty.
I don't know, man.
But Diego Pavia, quarterback for
Yeah,
Vanderbilt, great story. Love the guy. We do an all meathead team strikes for the Phil Steele magazine.
Yeah.
And I think we ended up settling on Blake Horvath as our meathead quarterback. But we had Haynes King in there. Pavia was in there. You know, just like tough dudes. That's what the meathead team's all about. Like good players, but you got to be tough. Like there's no soft batch cookies on the all meathead team.
We should do like an all prison team, like ones that would survive in prison. That'd be a good one.
What does that mean, Schlegs?
I don't know. They're just grimy dudes, like most likely to be in
Kevin
jail.
once told Oscar on The Office that he would love prison. And he said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You would love it." Trust me, you would love it. So I don't know when you talk about the all prison team. I don't know where we're going.
No, maybe guys that could do something that would reward them to go to prison. You know, not that they would like it.
So Diego Pavia said on a podcast, maybe I should try to get him on here, that Vandy will run Tennessee after this season. So number one, like Vandy had a really good year. They beat Alabama. All right. Like that was real. And he was a big part of it.
Yeah.
And so, okay, like you want to say you're taking over your state, but by the way, the Volunteers made the playoff. Like it wasn't like this is some Tennessee team that limped in at like 8-3, 8-4. I mean, they were a 10-2 team and they got smoked by Ohio State, but they also made it. So it's like you got to make it to get beat. So you can only be like, oh, you got blown out in the playoff. Well, hey, buddy, at least we made the playoff. Okay. So you can argue about that. This is going to be the new staple of college football. And remember, Diego Pavia, I completely forgot about him.
New Mexico State.
He was at New Mexico State, but he sued the NCAA to be able to get his like JUCO years back, I guess, to be able to play. So he got another year from this. And Pavia hasn't beat Tennessee either. It's not like they beat the Vols last year, you know? And so he can like get chesty about that. And in fact, like they're 24-6 in the last 30. And so, okay, I get he wasn't part of a lot of those, but they didn't beat him last year either, you know? And so I'm like, hey, buddy, like I appreciate the confidence, but like you said, the louder the bark, the smaller the bite usually when it comes to dogs. And it seems like you might almost be trying to talk yourself into this situation a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, keep scrolling through there because, matter of fact, just do the whole thing and then I can comment, Bob.
All right, and then so Pavia leans into calling out the Big Ten.
You beat Bama one time. Great job, guys. Like, come on. Okay, keep going.
So he goes after Tennessee, and now he's turning his shots to the Big Ten. You want to play with the best. You don't want to play in the Big Ten. You ignore those calls, like getting recruited is what he's saying. By the way, when he was in New Mexico State, he was 0-2 versus the Big Ten. He had 55 yards with 0 TDs.
Show the stats. Show the game. Show the
game. They got smoked by Minnesota, and they got smoked by Wisconsin. And so that's not all a product of him. But man, like
you are the quarterback, you are the one that you had the ball in your hands, right? It's like if you're that guy, I mean, what was it, man? What game was it? Dude, remember Toledo? It was a couple years ago. They had that quarterback that was like really good, and he was like kind of running on us a little bit, like doing some damage, and we smoked him, but like he was the only one that was keeping him in the game. Like you would have some stats that weren't, 55 yards and 0 touchdowns and a pick. Like that wouldn't be your stat line in those 2 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, like, all of this happened. They beat Alabama, which they hadn't beat Alabama in like 30 years or something. It was some crazy number. But like winning one game and now acting like you're like you're king dingaling here. Like I've never understood that. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, where would you get all of this bravado and like saying all that stuff? It only puts a target on your back.
dude. And that's why, like, I'm a brag a little bit. I love what Ohio State does. Like, you don't see a lot of their training videos like extensively. Coach Mick doesn't post how many guys are running over 20 miles an hour. You know, like you don't see a lot of that stuff, and guys don't post a lot of their own stuff, right? You'll see a dude of the week. Here's the difference. They realize that that's just part of the work to allow them to be great on the field. I don't got to post about it, right? I just got to go be about it. And they don't talk trash about any of their schools. It's just like, go out there and let's just go play and compete and keep the main thing the main thing. I think too many times when you go through this and you guys are having a great offseason, there's 132 programs in Division I college football. I might be off on that. I might be 134 now. I don't know. Just keep adding them. But everybody's going through a hard offseason if they have anybody worth their salt. Everybody's going to go through camp, right? But it's the great ones that do the hard things that are necessary to then execute on Saturdays. And it's about the execution. And it's about the 11 people that are on the field executing at the same time with great communication, playing fast, hard, and violent. Like, that's what it's about, not about this. Because as a quarterback, if those guys don't block for you, you say we're going to own Tennessee or run this state. You ain't going to run that state without a great special team. You ain't going to run that state without a great defense. Yeah. It takes parties involved. So, like, why throw them out there? And that's just part of, like, being smart. Maybe his frontal lobe isn't as developed as it should be.
He's like 25, though, Schlegel. It should be.
That's had 2 JUCO years.
Yeah. He was like you. Your frontal lobe was supposed to be fully developed when you left college. I don't think it still was, based upon some of the things. Or even currently is. You know what, Pat? I'm going to have to send you some of these pictures from us in college with Schlegs, and we'll have to post them up on the show sometime. When he chose to make the bed of his truck his actual bed one night.
You still have all those?
Yes. Did I keep them in my nightstand? Whenever I'm feeling bad about myself, I pull those.
Look at this. Look at these good times.
Like, man, life was good. That's when I didn't have a care in the world. I mean, there was no place like us for Diego Pavia to just yell about how great we were and tell everybody how we were going to run everything. And they were talking.
But we would never have done that in the first place. I know.
Well, Carnell Tate was over playing golf yesterday, and he was playing in the outing, and he was right behind me or in front of me, but we'd see each other. You know, he was behind me because they watched me go a couple times. I actually like I said, I played pretty well yesterday.
I'm excited because now we can go out and play for real.
I don't,
get AJ out there.
Keep score, dude. I bombed a 20-foot putt when we left to get us to 10 under, and I felt good. That was the last one.
Keeps you coming back.
Yeah. Well, it's like it was really hard, dude, with 40-mile-an-hour winds to try to chip, and like you get inside 70 yards trying to place anything, and you know how hard Scarlet is with like the tiered greens and everything. Like if you don't put it in a good spot, you'll never make a putt.
Bump and run, baby.
But Carnell's like, man, you didn't play much golf. I go, dude, when I was in college, you guys go hit balls together and do whatever. I go, when I was in college, we used to go drink beers together. That's what we would do. I was like, you guys are way better than we were, but we would go party. We wouldn't go to the golf course. You know, Schlegs.
We would go to the golf course, but we would also party. That's why I love playing Gray. It's like, hey, what do you guys? We're just going to go out there. I had a key to the cart. We rolled out there, and I had a 12-pack of stones. Like, let's freaking go, guys. Here we go. But look at this.
Exactly.
Look, guys.
You know, so it was fun. You know, but I'm like, you guys, it's different. It's different time. I'm going to leave you with this though on the Diego Pavia. They lost to Georgia State last year, Schlegs 36-32. So, like, listen, man, let's just try to take care of all the group of 5 schools before we start challenging the Big Ten and the rest of Tennessee and everything else. I mean, they were 6-6. Now they beat Georgia Tech in their bowl game, but I mean, 7-6 ain't running anything anywhere. But
and the Big Ten won the championship last 2 years. So look, I mean, what are we talking about?
There is a guy though, Schlegs, who is running Notre Dame, and he sat down with Joel Klatt, and I've talked a little bit about some of his other stuff with Marcus Freeman. And this is something, that I worry about with Ryan Day sometimes, of just like coaches in the schedule and getting burnt out, and how do you keep good coaches in college? We'll talk about that here next on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show, and it's great to see you again. Just happy you're here. And if you guys are watching, please like, subscribe, leave your questions or comments. We love when the chat gets rolling and gets fired up.
It's already. What kind of brand of beer did you guys drink back then? But I will say this: Garage Beer, because we know them. Andy works out at the Armory, like you do a lot of stuff with them, which is fantastic.
Does he work out at the SPC?
No, you don't work out the ASP.
ASP Armory Sports.
That's where we do athletes only, right?
Wait, you're saying Andy Sauer's not an athlete anymore?
No, I said I think everybody should train like an athlete, as much of an athlete as they are. They just get freaking moving. But now he's over there with Weir, the boys, and they're there like super early in the morning. But and I do like their beer. I have it at the shop up in Lewis Center. My favorite beer back in college was Bud Heavy, Coors Light, and Keystone, because you can buy a 30-pack for like $10. What was your favorite? What was your go-to? And I like Bud Heavies because it was kind of nostalgia, because my uncle was a Budweiser guy and he had an entire barn, kid you not, entire barn of Budweiser collection, like a Budweiser collection of everything, like foosball tables, mugs, shirts, random. I mean, it filled up an entire freaking barn of Budweiser stuff. So I kind of had an affinity for Budweiser because of him, and it had a lot of calories. And I was trying to gain weight, probably too much. And then I became a Silver Bullet. I'm like, dude, hey, guess what? They call Coors Light the Silver Bullet. I'm gonna switch to that. So I drink predominantly.
Yeah. That's what when I was younger. As soon as I committed to Ohio State, it was like, all right, dude, Silver Bullets. Like that was it. I mean, there was no. You had to be a part of that. So
dude, how about this? I just thought of this. How awesome. I don't know if you could like do it, but it was like maybe it's like a cooled, like, you know how like those guys like in Vietnam movies, they had the 50 cal like thing across their chest of bullets, but we made one for 16-ounce silver bullets of beers. They just went all the way around your body, and you just pull it over, pull one out, boom, pull it over, pull one out, boom. Right? Maybe there was like something that was attached to it to where you could shotgun it. Now you just added another kind of firing mechanism to this sweet belt. Because I know Oreo stole my idea about the tongs in the cup. They did. They made these like little tongs that are really flimsy. I like the metal ones. They stole that idea from me. I've been doing that for 30, how old am I, 44? So like at least 40 years. That would be an amazing, we should do a collab. I'm going to call Aaron about that. Like, dude, can I be that guy? Like Silver Bullets. Oh,
there you go. Yeah, you can do whatever. All right, we got to get this Marcus Freeman bit. Throw that up there, Pat. When we start talking about coaches staying in college, like how do you keep the good coaches in college despite everything that's ultimately going on right now? I don't think we have any sound. Oh, no.
And don't go to the NFL.
I think that I always think about our staff and how do I, as the head coach, do the best job possible to make sure our staff enjoys coming to work here, right? And part of that is, trying not to overwork them, right? And I think sometimes college coaches can overwork their staffs. We're going to work hard. Right. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Nothing great in life is easy. But, how do we continue to look at the calendar and make it in a way that there's some type of balance for the assistant coaches? They're the ones that are on the road 24/7 constantly. Like we got to create some type of balance for those coaches. And I think we are. I see us trending from my first year to now my fourth year in a direction that is trying to create some type of balance for assistant coaches. And that's important. But, I think how do we continue to have a college football structure that helps young people continuously become self-sufficient? I just don't want a structure.
Yeah. I like that. Structure. Yeah, let's go. Talk about
well, I was so you're the one that's in it. I mean, you start talking about coaching and getting burned out, but then also creating that structure that keeps guys self-sufficient, make sure that they're able to be their best version of themselves, and human development, which is really all the great coaches that I've been around. they always are trying to develop the whole human, because the better the human is, the better the player they're ultimately going to be.
Yeah. I brought the quote from Dabo the other day, Bob, about, coaches gotta invest and build up the athlete. If it's all about the wins, like you're not really doing your job as a coach. And what I think, again, goes back to the culture aspect and the foundation of the program, and why you can't go away from your morals and what you deem as your program. That's exactly what Marcus is talking about. And I think it's, how do you validate what is a win to your staff along with the time? Because the hardest part about coaching, guys, is besides the moving around, and not everybody has to go chase jobs. Like, you don't have to go do that. But if you want to move up, you got to move on. But in that year, what are the wins? Like, what are the KPIs of an assistant coach? Is it like, how are these guys doing in the classroom? What does your relationship look like with that athlete and their family? That's a little bit subjective. How can you put an objective view on that? It's what, like, do they show up on time? Do they follow the process? How are they acting in and amongst the weight room and the support staff? Are they treating people with respect? All of those things that will carry on with them outside of the sport. Like, that is your job. You are basically their father figure once they step on campus.
Ooh, George Michaels. I like that. Put your tiny hand in mine, Schleiks.
So how are you encouraging your assistant coaches that is a win, while also giving them time to invest in their own?
Yeah,
I think that's probably the hardest. That's why he talked about the calendar. Mm-hmm. How can we be, honestly, guys, I think so many times college coaches confuse activity with achievement, and they're just there and they're working just to work and not being intentional. You could even see that from a practice schedule perspective. Like, why are we running this many periods on this week? Like, should we not have covered that already during camp or during spring football? Like, why is it even still in there? As you go through, volume is the killer. Practice time should be shorter, but you got to be more intentional with what you do and why you do it. So coaches, like do that. There's a lot of little intricate pieces into this, but it's really, how can they invest and pour into what they love to do? They are educators, while also allowing them to be men and build up and lift up their spouses and their children. That's where it gets on the dicey. There, matter of fact, there was a strength coach.
I love you. All right.
Terrible. I had an example too, Bob.
Okay, you get 1 minute for your example.
No, there was recently the head strength coach of Miami resigned, and there was no reason why. It was the thing was, the reasoning is because I'm not the husband and father that I need to be, and so he resigned from his position. And that's the reality. And I think that's what Marcus is alluding to. And I also think that Ryan Day does a good job of balancing that with his assistants.
Well, because Ryan has a family that he loves and wants to be around, and so he respects other people that have the same thing. So that's, when you have a coach that has that type of relationship, that matters. I want to tell you about my friends over at Backer, BCKR. I was hyping them up yesterday, Schlegs, on the course. I think actually maybe I had my Backer jacket off when I was talking to you guys, but I had it on multiple times. There were people that were talking to me about it. Like, oh, that's sweet. I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. It's a great raincoat. This thing is like it looks awesome, but it literally zero absorption. Literally the water flies off of it. It's like the Kembe Mutombo with the water droplets, just whacking them all. No chance. Water doesn't stand a chance when you're on it. So go to bckr.com. Premium gear. It looks great. It feels great. They've got windbreakers, rain gear, cold gear, hats, all of it. It's the great stuff that you want. So go check it out. And a portion of every purchase at backer.com, bckr.com goes back to the Buckeye athletes. Use promo code all caps BOBBY. That's Bobby for free expedited shipping. BCKR. That's backer.com. Headlines coming up next.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
All right, welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show, and our headlines are brought to you by our friends over at Lake Spur Marketing, full-service ad agency built on trust, strategy, performance. They do all the things you don't want to do, and they've got the experience, over 100 years of combined experience to help take care of your business and help grow it. And they don't waste time. They don't waste money. They're going to be there to help elevate and take your business to the next level. They don't chase the clicks. They help build those partnerships. Lake Spur Marketing, the proof is in the partners. All right, Schlegs, big news. We talked about recruiting, losing Luke Wafel, but the Buckeyes pick one up. James Laurinaitis opening up the Glenville pipeline again. They got a couple of Glenville dudes there, Arvell Reese, Bryce West as well. I think they're getting a couple more guys coming through, but a big boom from Sincere Johnson, who was there last week, the number 71 overall prospect in the 2026 class, has committed to Ohio State. So great to see Sincere Johnson. And so as you know, you're getting love when in your commitment post, you get James Laurinaitis in there with you with the Blocko Flex.
Yeah, no doubt. Blocko Flex. He's like, I would get that one tatted as soon as I get on campus. Just like I remember J.J. Smith walked onto campus, and next thing I knew, poof, David Copperfield, like a week later, full arm tats. So it's just a thing. But James is the best, man. I'm super excited for another Glenville. And again, it's kind of what happens when you have a guy like Arvell Reese having the success that he's having. You're like, I'm a lot like that player. And we got the safety out of Baton Rouge. It's kind of like, oh, I see myself as a Caleb Downs, as a Lathan Ransom. I want to go there because I identify with that style of play. That's why all this matters, especially when it's schools that have and can produce a talent like Glenville does.
It's pretty interesting, and it's great to see that they've got a ton of it. Coach Ginn does a great job up there. I know Ted now is involved as well, and so it's great to see them being able to continue to grow and develop that Glenville pipeline. Sincere Johnson, the most recent of the Glenville clan to commit. So excited to see him down there. Excited to work with him, with James as well. That's it for our headlines brought to you by Lake Spur. We've got our tailgate talk brought to you by our friends at Real Truck coming up next, and we're going to dive in, Schlegs. Is golf casual, business casual?
Yeah.
Well, the results of the poll are in. Let's see what they say. Welcome back in to the Bobby Carpenter Show. And Schlegs, it's Tailgate Talk brought to you by our friends at Real Truck. The poll question came up. Our guy Schlegelvelli wore shorts to the Ohio State Governor's Mansion to meet with Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel and Governor Mike DeWine. Both were there. Is golf shorts and shirts acceptable business attire, business casual attire? 40% saying yes, but 60% saying no. Over 300 people voted. Schlegs, the people have spoken. We give it 4 thumbs down, Charlie Murphy. The milk's gone bad.
Hey, you know what, though? Somebody sent me a great photo, and it was so – you know what probably would have made it super appropriate would have been if I would have worn Carpenter shorts. You know, the ones that have the thing where you can put the hammer on the side, Bob, because they sent me a picture, and it was of a guy that had a wine glass in the loop of his Carhartt like work pants. And I'm like, that would have been full utility. Exactly. That one right there.
That's so pretty impressive. God,
maybe
awesome.
Maybe that's why it's inappropriate. I wasn't there. I should have had some of those. Or like if I would have worn cargo shorts with that, because then I could have walked away and stuffed all
that
those
is
Buckeye
the greatest
cookies.
thing I've seen.
Fern was out there making Buckeye cookies, right? The first lady of Ohio. I could have stuffed all those in my cargo shorts. Boom, could have had, a glass of wine while I was like, hey, Governor, where's the wine? Boom, I brought my glass. I'm ready. It's just
that's
you're
a
walking up
Carpenter
fully
tool
prepared.
belt. That's a Carpenter jean, and that's used for carrying a hammer or some sort of tool. And I guess the ultimate tool is the glass, which is a receptacle to be a vehicle to get the wine from the bottle to your beak. And so kudos to my guy there with the wine tucked into the cargo short. You got to send that over to me, Schlegs, or tucked into the Carpenter pant jean, rather.
Yeah.
I'll have to show that to some of my friends. But that's it for our tailgate talk today. Coming up, we've got our dudes of the week as we wrap up the show. All right, welcome back in as we wrap up our show with the dudes of the week. Great question, though, with Neil. Who are the 40%? My only solution can be that Schlegs called everybody he knew, minus me, to have him vote in the poll and to make sure that they try to flip it the other way. I'm going to let you go first, Schlegs, on that.
Yeah, throw it up there, Pat. Mine was JJ Spawn 1. It was really good. Oakmont was absolutely terrible. Andrew Sweat, remember, he's like, dude, come out and play. He's there the entire deal. Here's why he's my dude of the week. Look at that score. 1, Father's Day. He got up early, had to go to CVS, find his kids some stuff at like 3 a.m. Then he goes to Oakmont, has to play that thing in the rain. It was absolutely chaotic. And he had 5 bogeys. I mean, that card looks like mine. I mean, at 1, I would be happy to shoot a 40. But like that kind of looks like my card. I'm actually feeling pretty good about that one. And then he goes on to have 4 birdies with a bogey, but birding the last 2. I think he made like 100 and something feet of putts with 64 or 68 of those coming on the last one. Unbelievable, won it outright. And again, that's just handling adversity, Bob. Dude of the week.
He gave him the Happy Gilmore. He could have 2-putted his way. He's like, no, I'll just win it right here. And then hits the 40-foot bomb.
The 60-something feet bomb.
Even better. Better. Shorten him 20 feet. My dude of the week is Peyton Manning. And I ran across this. And I'm going to read this Instagram post that I saw here. I'm hoping there's a lot of stuff out there that was, kind of crazy, but you can generate a lot of things with AI. But if you could pull that up, Pat, it's a picture of Peyton in front of a gravestone by a guy by the name of Marcus Bryant. It said Peyton, he was bullied as a kid. One classmate stood up for him. 20 years later, Peyton Manning paid him back in the most heartbreaking way. In middle school, Peyton wasn't the star quarterback yet. Tall, lanky, and quiet. Some kids made fun of his voice. Others mocked his awkward build. He's always had the huge forehead. Even Eli makes fun of it. One day in the cafeteria, a group of boys surrounded him, pushed his tray, laughed. Someone stood up. Marcus, a kid half their size, brave enough to say, leave him alone. You'll wish you were his friend one day. They backed off. Peyton never forgot it. They weren't best friends. From that day on, Peyton had a quiet protector. Years passed, Peyton rose to fame, Super Bowls, MVPs, but he never saw Marcus again. Till he went looking, searched for years, hoping to say thank you. Finally found Marcus's hometown. He was too late. Marcus had passed away 10 years before in a car wreck. Peyton visited his grave, sat there for 2 hours, tears running down his face. Left a note on the headstone. You stood up for me when no one else did, and I'll never forget. I hope you knew. Then he did something few knew about. He found Marcus's family and set up a full college scholarship for Marcus's 2 kids. Telling them, your father was a hero. Let me carry this kindness forward. And I see a lot of stuff out there. I'm hoping that's true. I just saw it, and I was like, man, Peyton's a good dude. I've always really loved him. Gonzo respects the hell out of him. And, that's the stuff that people do that no one really knows about. So hoping that that's it. He's my dude of the week for seeing
Yeah,
that.
dude.
And awesome story. Great week. Great job yesterday, Schlegs. We'll have some big stuff coming for you next week. So stay locked in right here on the Bobby Carpenter Show.